another edition of the SND Podcast Show on the Schmuck Sports Network, episode 48. Once again, that was Division 1.1 with a Vengeance. Tonight's song. Dan, how you doing tonight?
Okay, doing good. Good solid week ahead of us, and so far, solid week that we just had.
Or do you want me to, like Dave Demishek says, what's the poop, fella?
No, that's his thing. Let's not do that. Yeah, it's a fun week. Baseball playoffs are either wrapping up or already clinched.
Well, the first round is wrapping up, basically.
Yeah, there's 2 games going on.
We will post the next round's picks on the Twitter and Facebook page just to make it easier, just so we can't make predictions and sound like idiots on this week's show.
Well, we already sound like idiots most weeks.
Fair enough. Oh, boy. Well, we did pick the Giants to win the division. Well, then again.
Honestly, we were close to that one.
But winning the division?
No. We should have mulligans with that.
I called, don't worry, at the game on Sunday, I told everybody that the Giant Redskin game, week 17, each team's going to have either 5 or 6 wins, and it's going to be for the division. That's the way the NFC East is looking right now.
Oy vey. That's all I got to say.
Anyhow, we'll talk about them a little later on.
It's another fun week to talk about them. More importantly, fun news, actually. The New York Jets surprised the world.
Let's not get into it.
Surprised the world and beat the Atlanta Falcons. We both obviously got that picks wrong. But
most of America got that.
Everybody, I think, honestly, if you were still alive in the upset pool, the survivor pool, I think 80% of people were done if they didn't pick the Falcons yet.
Oh, yeah. If that was the week they picked the Falcons, there's no way.
Done. Everybody's, not a chance. Rookie quarterback going to Atlanta. Bam. And prior, we find out after the game, Julio Jones is out for the year. So that definitely hurts for whoever has Julio Jones in their fantasy league. So that hurts as well. Also, hockey is finally back. So we get to talk about Islanders. Steve had a fun trip going to The Rock.
Very classy over there in New Jersey.
Well, I'm sure you guys chanting, I believe we just won in the visiting arena.
It was before we even did that. Well,
you're wearing opposite color jerseys. You know that you're going to get that if they were coming to the Coliseum. So it's just one of those things. But I'm sure singing, I believe we just won in another arena is going to cause a ruckus. Anyway, and the Rangers are a little shaky on their West Coast trip right now.
Yeah, well, it's midnight when they play.
Yeah, so they're having a rough patch of it as of right now. Devils are looking pretty good at the moment, other than the comeback of Corey Schneider in overtime last night.
Yeah,
but that's that. This is a fun pack show. Stay with us, and
let's play a little more with the Vengeance, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the S&D Podcast. You just listened to With a Vengeance by Division 1.1. Steve, let's start off with a little Islanders hockey tonight. Since you were at the home opener and the season opener, let's get your take on the Islanders through the first 3 games.
I love them, the way that they play. The first game they came out, they were a little slow, they kind of looked. But it was the first game, the full unit. It was the first time we were actually really getting into the real flow of things. And they looked a little slow early on, but they were able to step it up. A couple wacky goals given up throughout the game by Nabby and Brodeur. But again, of course, early in the year for 2 older guys who basically don't play in the preseason due to age. But the team looks just like the same team as last year towards the end of the year. Not really big names, no superstars behind Tavares. And they just throw their bodies around.
Yeah,
that's how they win games. That's how they're going to play the games. They're going to throw their bodies around and wear teams out late in the year, late in the games, and take advantage of that. And so that yesterday also, they just got lucky and they were able to put up a lot of points, a lot of goals.
I like the scrappiness.
The other night against Phoenix.
I like the scrappiness of this year's team so far of 3 games, and we don't even have Cowback. Clutterbuck. That's going to be some use to get used to.
He actually got activated on the 9th.
He got activated on the 9th.
He wasn't supposed to be back till November, so.
Yeah, well, that's crazy to hear. But honestly, the Islanders were very impressive, obviously, the other night against Phoenix. I didn't get to watch much of the Blue Jackets game, which I know we had a 2-0 lead. That was disheartening that we blew that lead. Was it one of those, we really did a crappy job blowing a lead. You know how some nights there's like
it just seemed like they got lucky. It's like just unexpectedly just put the puck in the net.
Gotcha. Because I know some nights it's like, okay, they really earned those 2 goals, and on other nights it's like, crap.
We also got to the point where
we like overlooked them.
Tired due to the fact that we
played
traveled.
a back-to-back.
Then again, so did they, but we played a back-to-back where we played overtime and a shootout the night before, where Columbus the night before was able to finish off in overtime. It was finish off in regulation. So they didn't play, quote-unquote, as much, is the best way to call it, the night before.
Oh, okay. With this weekend coming up, the Islanders are on a road trip for the next 2 games.
Playing in Chicago.
Playing in Chicago and in Nashville. What do you see?
We're not beating Chicago.
Okay, I was gonna say no as well. What about the Predators?
They could beat the Predators easily. They're not that talented of a team, the Predators, especially offensively. Defensively, they have Shea Weber, who's one of the biggest hard players in the league to play against,
and a perennial Norris Trophy contender.
Yes, every year. They also have the kid Seth Jones.
Yeah, the draft pick.
Who should have been number 1 last year, in my view. But actually, I was watching a game, I believe it was last week, against Colorado was playing, and I was able to watch the first overall pick, McKinney. He looked really good.
So
he looked like the real deal. He looked like he actually earned that first spot. So I apologize to him thinking that Seth Jones was going number 1. But they're an up-and-coming team, Nashville.
Yeah, they're probably a couple pieces away with their young, pretty much like what the Islanders were a year ago with their prospects. If all of them start to gel and becoming a team, it can be scary because of the collection of top 5 and high draft picks that they've accumulated over the last few years. With the Islanders, I think on Friday when they play the Blackhawks, it's going to be interesting seeing how they might not win the game. You don't expect them to win the game, but how tough they are going to hang in there with Chicago. That's what I'm looking forward to. They're supposed to be that good of a team this year that they're able to compete with any team, any given night, so to speak. So it's going to be interesting this early in the season how they play a Stanley Cup champion in the Blackhawks.
It's an early season test.
And on the road.
I can also guarantee you Nabokov will play.
So that means the
Poulin's going to play Nashville
Saturday, which is expected.
Because unless it becomes that bad where Poulin ends up playing Friday. Anywho, let's hope not though. Chicago's only played a couple games this year. They've only played 2 games, which was one where they raised
the banner.
Raised the banner opening night.
They were high off of that, so of course they won.
Right, they won that game, and then they only played one other game. They're actually playing on the 9th as well. They have a game, and then they also played a shootout game, where they lost. So, and the surprising part about that is they actually had a 2-goal lead also, just like the Islanders had. Oh, but the Islanders are an up-and-coming team. This is the game where you get an early test about where they're at, and it will show them what they need to do the rest of the way.
Exactly. It's going to be a good gauge, especially since they'll have those gauges against the Rangers and the Penguins in our division, essentially. But it's nice to see the other elite teams on the other side of the conference. The other conference.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait to watch that game. That's going to be a fun night. Let's switch our gears towards the Rangers. A little bit more dramatic, as you say. They're in the midst of their West Coast trip. They're 1-2 right now. They didn't
lose game. Oh no, they lost it.
Yeah, they lost to Phoenix
4-1.
4-1. I think they're just getting used to the system. Last night was just one of those yikes. They just walked into a buzzsaw. They didn't obviously play any defense and help for Henrik and then Biron after the fact. Their rookie, how do you pronounce his name?
Oh, I have no idea. Ninja Turtle.
Yeah. He scored 4 goals.
Turtle.
He scored 4 goals, and his fourth goal was absolutely ridiculous that you don't see in the National Hockey League game, actually during the game. What's his name? Malik from the Rangers 2005 did that in a shootout, but during a National Hockey regulation-sized game when you're skating and the goalie's there and the defenseman's on your back and he was able to pull that move. That's just ridiculous, and a lot of things to see out of that kid who is 19 years old.
I actually think No. McKenny, the guy I was telling you about before, he was drafted as a 17-year-old. I apologize.
So it's insane. It is really insane.
The Sharks scored 9 goals, so really they only had 8 going into it in their first 2 games. They have 17 goals on the year, only 4 goals against, 3-0.
They're playing good. It's until
they're typical regular season.
Yeah,
Sharks.
until the playoffs they'll choke. So it's nothing new with that.
I like to say that Dan said that. I did not say
it's
that.
It's the facts. The next game the Rangers play is Thursday against the Ducks. They're going to be looking to avenge for their crappiness. Today they had a closed-door meeting, so God knows what really happened with that. Probably not as bad as you would think because it's only the third game of the year, but that kind of effort has to stop like right now for them. But after that, Saturday, the Rangers are back on bearable time. This is bearable time zone watching for everybody who hasn't really been able to stay up and watch the Ranger games, like myself included.
Oh, yeah. I haven't really watched the Ranger games either.
I barely watched the Monday night. I passed out after the Monday night football game and watched a little bit of that.
They play St. Louis on Saturday.
And the Capitals on Wednesday.
Saturday wasn't that bad. Kind of West Coast. It's halfway there.
But you're able to watch it. Yeah, the Kings game was a crazy game. How can we forget about the Jonathan Quick mess up on that? Granted, the game was basically over.
It wasn't really over. There was a lot of time left.
No, there's a lot of time left.
It was only a 1-goal game.
But that was the third goal. It was still 2-1. That's why it was just one of those weird kind of plays that never happen ever. And when it does, you're like, whoa. So the Rangers were going to get a lot of top 10 or not top 10 on ESPN this week. Whichever way you look at it, one good, one bad. Brad Richards had 2 goals in that game, which was nice to see.
Leads the team in points.
He leads the team in points right now. We got to see what. Oh, sorry to backtrack, but also unfortunately in the San Jose game, Rick Nash got hurt.
Yes, he took an elbow to the head.
He took an elbow to the head. Hopefully it's not a bad concussion. It probably is a concussion, so he's probably going to miss a couple of games.
Right.
But hopefully,
it's also early in the year, so you miss a couple of games now to save him later on.
Yeah, of course. But it still hurts that your best player is a little concussed. And any word on what happened with Callahan? He got hurt a little bit on Monday.
I believe he played last night.
Okay, so he's a hockey player, and he was able to fight through the pain.
Yeah, he played last night, -3.
Okay, he had a rough night. You don't
that's what happens when you play every shift.
Yeah, that too. I don't know. Anything you're looking forward to against the Blues? How the Blues supposed to be this year?
The Blues are supposed to be like the Islanders. They're up and coming.
They're up and coming, but if
I think it was 2 years ago. Last year was just a weird year for them. They just came out of nowhere and nobody knew anything that was going to happen with them. And they just happened to dominate.
And next Wednesday, our next time we broadcast is actually going to be a fun night. It's going to be the Rangers Capitals in Washington. They're
the most
actually
overrated hockey team of all time.
It is overrated, but for any Ranger fan and people who are going to be following the Metropolitan Division, it's going to be the first real time as the Rangers and Capitals as division foes for a while. So that's going to be
the game of the week.
It is the game of the week, quote unquote rivalry game of the week. So it's going to be very interesting to see how those two teams play against each other, and a lot of playoff history between the two of them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're both division rivals for once in a long, long time. So that's that. We're going to play a little bit more Division 1.1 with a vengeance, and we're going to be back with some playoff baseball.
SND Podcast is no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Hockey League or any of its affiliates.
Welcome back to the S&D Podcast show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Once again, that was Division 1.1 with a vengeance. Pretty good series going on in the... Credit to Pittsburgh.
Credit to Pittsburgh for bringing it to Game 5.
And Oakland.
And Oakland, yeah. It really... Not the A's. The Tigers are definitely a completely different team. Like what we said at the start, that if Miguel Cabrera is clearly struggling and is unhealthy, the A's are a completely different team, and it's showing. I mean, the Tigers are a completely different team. The A's are getting what they've been good on this whole entire year in solid pitching, and that's how they got their 2 wins so far, is on solid pitching and actually outplaying Justin Verlander.
I wouldn't call that outplaying.
Well,
they should have won. They should have both won.
Yeah, outdueled Justin Verlander, in other words.
Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray, who's going to be pitching Game 5.
He's starting Game 5. He's the starter. Okay.
Yeah.
Verlander for...
I believe, yes. Verlander for Game 5 as well. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yes, Verlander versus Sonny Gray, who became I think it was like the second rookie ever. I don't remember who the other name was. 8 innings, 9 strikeouts, no runs in his first ever postseason
Which was
appearance.
impressive. So
I would call that more than impressive. Against that lineup, no healthy or no healthy, Cabrera, that's a great lineup.
Absolutely. It's been one of those good series. This year's playoffs, I know it's a lot every year, a lot of day game baseball, which I don't like, because we're obviously a lot of people are working during the time and people are saying it's tradition. I actually disagree. I don't like it. I'd rather it be on prime time and you being able to watch the games opposed to
sitting at work and
not caring, pretty much. Of course, I still care, but it's like I don't need to. I'm not at the edge of my seat refreshing my computer or my phone if I'm not by my computer. What's going on in that particular game? And
I had that issue. Was it Game 4? Yes, Game 4.
Yeah,
the other day, I have had to go to a customer's house to fix something on one of his lamps that we repaired, and he had the game on. It took me a couple extra minutes to get one of the pieces off because it was an interesting part of the game.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, I wasn't at work. I didn't even realize the game was on.
Yeah,
at this guy's house.
That's my point.
I'm messing around with his lamp so I can watch it.
If it wasn't for a text message from our friend Tom saying an exciting moment of the game was on, I had no idea it was the day game. I completely forget. I like that's the one thing with baseball that I get aggravated in, that they're baseball purists, and it was done in 1940 something, and it should still be done because it's tradition. I think some traditions are meant to be changed, and playing day game baseball especially during the playoffs, where a lot of people are going to be having to miss work or not even actually missing the game. It's takes the fun out of it. I'm sure people who get to play hooky and everything like that are able to watch games think differently, but I think for the average working man and woman, it should be changed up a little bit.
There was a Pirates fan, I think Game 3.
My point exactly.
Day game? No, Game 4 was the day game. Kid went in with a sign. It was his doctor's note. It was actually pictured, why he was missing. It had to do with the game.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's fine to play hooky every now and again.
And it's cute, and, because a kid, when he makes signs like that.
But after the third game, you're going to have to, figure out how to not get out of work, or it's just things need to change. It's not like there's stadiums without lights anymore. Every stadium has some sort of lights. It can last an extra week.
That's the thing. They don't want it to go into November.
Well, I know, but it really, November 1st is really going to make a big deal?
The last game, I think Game 7's like Halloween.
Yeah.
But if the game goes past midnight, technically you have a World Series winner in November then.
Which we already had in the Diamondbacks couple.
Well, that was a different story.
Oh, I know that.
That's a completely different story.
I know. I'm just saying it has happened before. That's just my 2 cents. Let's get back to the actual series in hand. The other series we just talked about that game is on. That game's going to be Thursday at 8 p.m. So definitely check that game out. It's going to be fun. Either 8 or 9, I forget. Probably 9 since it's in Oakland.
8 o'clock.
It is 8 o'clock.
Which leads you back to your point. 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. You're basically grabbing your kid from school, going, or you're getting out of work early.
Yeah, it's just one of those sticky situations.
To be fair, it will always be East Coast bias.
Of course. But for people in the West Coast, they're used to that kind of
at this point,
thing.
you know what? And we would probably feel the same way. But the difference is when those games were playing at 1 o'clock, like one of the games in Detroit was at 1
Yeah,
o'clock.
I would have been mad.
That would have been like an 11 o'clock game in Oakland.
No, if the game was at 1 o'clock, it would be at 10 o'clock.
No. We're a 3-hour difference. Detroit's a 1 hour difference
Oh, yeah,
from
good
us.
point. I apologize.
So I believe it's a 2-hour difference.
2-hour difference. Okay, I stand corrected. I was thinking hours for some odd reason. That's been a good series. The Dodgers-Braves series was a complete, other than the one game the Braves won, the
Congratulations to them.
Dodgers completely kicked ass, and that's what you kind of expected. Crawford hit a couple big time home runs. Juan Uribe hit the series clincher. Who else? Hanley looked like Hanley. They're looking very, 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 very tough.
And you know what's scary?
Kershaw and Greinke both looked really good.
Greinke was the one that lost, though.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That lineup healthy,
It's scary.
and they're doing it without Matt Kemp.
Oh yeah, that's without Matt Kemp, but then again, they were an outfielder platooning anyway because of Kemp when Kemp was out.
By the way, if you check out our Instagram, I reposted. I got that repost app that I've been using. Very cool app if you want to repost things from Instagram and stuff onto your own Instagram. From the Dodgers celebration the other day, Sandy Koufax and Kershaw.
Yeah, that's a great moment because Kershaw,
Two of the greatest lefties of all time.
There hasn't been a lefty in Dodgers history since him. So it's really gonna be interesting. It's really a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but having those two.
Get complain about the way he's playing.
No, especially on 3 days rest. A lot of people before the start of the game were questioning that, especially since Freddie Garcia is less of a opponent compared to Kershaw. I actually like that move a lot. They went for the jugular, and they were able to get a couple more days rest. Granted, the series is probably going to start on the weekend since Game 5's tonight on the Wednesday that we're recording. So
Game 5 tonight, you got to think Game 1 is
Friday or Saturday.
Friday night.
It's Friday night?
Friday,
Okay.
Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Gotcha. So Friday night, exactly. And so they have a couple of days of rest.
And then it's Saturday, and then the AL is Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
Gotcha. So there you go.
That was already announced. It'll be interesting to see, especially if the Cardinals could hold on and win tonight while we're recording on the 9th. Because you have Wainwright going, so who do you go to next? You're going to go Lynn to start Game 1 of the...
You gotta stick to the rotation that you're given because you don't want to give a hand of your deck early in the series kind of thing.
Which gets to the point of...
Waka. I know where you're going with Waka.
No. I'm thinking about with the Red Sox Rays series. Look at what happened to David Price. He pitched that Monday before and got destroyed. I mean, I think it was a 5-day rest, but he put so much energy into beating Texas in that 163rd game.
Yeah, that's what happens. Honestly, they wanted to go for the kill and they got the kill. So there's going to be no looking of Donnie Baseball should have done this or that kind of thing. So they looked out and they went for the jugular and connected.
For them, though, when did that series end? Monday?
Yes.
So you could have Kershaw go Game 1.
Yeah.
He's on schedule to go Game 1.
Which is clutch.
Right.
And then
well, that would be 4 days. So really, you could have Greinke go 1 and have Kershaw go 2.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a Dodger fan, you're excited because you have your rotation.
Exactly.
You're having one of those two guys go.
It's going to be interesting if the Pirates find a way. Right now, they're actually down 2-0. If they find a way to pull out the comeback from behind win and see what happens with that, especially with them going to the NLCS kind of thing. It's a long way to talk, but it's going to be interesting to see which matchup fares better with the Dodgers. Obviously, everybody's going to say the Cardinals because they're the better matchup and the better team. How do you pronounce his name? Waka?
Waka.
He had another awesome game. He had 8 innings of no-hit ball.
Yeah, until Alvarez said, "Bam."
So it's really just one of those interesting things of that's so far been the funnest, the best series so far. I'm excited to see what series. What do you think since the series is going to start? Who do you think who you think is going to project to look good? I think the Red Sox are going to be...
As a baseball fan, I am really high on a Pittsburgh-Oakland World Series.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Because as much as Bud Selig would be like, oh, God, no. As a baseball fan, that would be so exciting.
That would actually be a real fun series.
I think those two fan bases deserve it.
They do deserve it, but at the end of the day...
the Green Power Ranger.
At the end of the day, everybody's loving the sexy pick of the Dodgers and Red Sox at the moment. Granted, they're the only two teams that advanced, but that would be baseball MLB's dream matchup right now. But honestly, you can't count out the Tigers. You definitely can't. If they find a way to get healthy, you can't count them out. I think
the Red Sox right now are the team in the AL.
They are. They're just red hot, and I think
if you look at the rotation wise, the Red Sox have the best four.
PB shut them down the other night.
Yeah, and just think about the four you would have going. Even with a struggling Lackey, you have Lester, Lackey, Colts, and PB.
That's impressive. And their bullpen's been pretty good other than the walk-off home run the other night.
I'll tell you what, right now, if it's up to me, it's a Red Sox-Dodger World Series.
Well, yeah. That's
not because of how they're playing, but because of the fact that
their
put the
series
pitching
is over.
matchups together.
Yeah.
Put those pitching matchups together.
And they're the only two teams that advanced so far. So, got to give credit where credit's due. By this time next week, it could be a completely different story than we both knew that. But as of right now, I'm excited to see who wins both Game 5s and who gets to play LA and also play Boston. So
yeah, but yeah, like I said, it's just set up so perfectly for Boston and LA right now, having all these off days. Boston clinched when? Tuesday, Wednesday? Tuesday, right?
Yeah, the other night.
The other night. So they have the rotation. They can set it up perfectly for their own.
Yeah.
Lester hasn't pitched in a week.
Yeah.
Right now, so.
And that's always good to have your ace not pitching in a week, so.
Can't complain about that.
Can't complain about that. Unless he gets rocked by 8 runs in the first inning.
Who pitched Game 1 for Oakland in their series? Cologne. So they win their game, you got to think Cologne's going Game 1. Basically, it's set up where Cologne and Scherzer will pitch Game 1.
Yeah, if all things go to plan, yeah.
Whoever wins in that series. Then when it comes down to A.J. Burnett will probably pitch Game 1 if Pittsburgh wins. And you got to think Lance Lynn will go Game 2.
Yeah, since Wainwright's going tonight, yeah.
You got to think that's going to be what it is. But I would love to see Pittsburgh move on, personally. I'm just sick of
And by the way,
Cardinals.
we got to say, former Met, congratulations on hitting another playoff home run and slugging percentage higher than Babe Ruth. So, got to give credit where credit's due. Congratulations to Carlos Beltran with that. He's always showed up in the playoffs other than that one strikeout. That always hurts to talk about, but it is facts, and he's one of the best postseason hitters ever, as you can see with stats. Stats don't lie, so congratulations to Beltran on that.
Yes, good for him.
Before we end the segment, would you bring Carlos Beltran back if he was to sign a nice, decent contract with the Mets for like
How old
a
is
year
he
or two?
now?
36, 37.
I would go after a younger guy first.
Well, yeah, no, of course.
And as a last resort, yes.
Yeah.
But I could see some team.
Oh, yeah, American League team, I could see.
I could see, you know what team I can see signing him? If you want to talk about this now. Bringing him back like Kansas City.
That would be interesting.
Add a bat to that lineup, or even Cleveland. Two teams that were just like right there. Needed that one more win. Bring him in, a little more offense out of him.
Oh, you're right. I was
Kansas
just
City,
saying, I saw the article the other day.
Kansas City, you bring him back, you get that story of, oh, we weren't good when you were here, but now you're back, let's make it to the playoffs, because they barely missed the playoffs this year.
Yeah, absolutely right.
But that was baseball. Playoffs are in full swing. Let's go play a little more with the Vengeance, and we'll be right back.
SND Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by Major League Baseball or any of its affiliates.
Welcome back to episode 48 of the S&D Podcast show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Yeah, Giants.
Giants, yeah, they're 0-5.
Yet only 2 games out of the division.
Yeah, no, it's really getting shitty. Pardon my French.
Shitty doesn't describe it. Shitty's the nice word. Shitty's the S&D Podcast word that we're allowed to use.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, there's not enough words to describe how I'm feeling about the New York Football Giants this year. Not giving up on them. I am giving up on them slightly, but we gotta win a game. I'm getting desperate.
Gotta
for
win a
winning.
game?
We gotta win a bunch of games.
I would like to state one positive out of last week's game against the Eagles. He held McCoy to under 50 yards.
Yes, that was the one positive of this game. Let's go break this game down.
Okay, and another positive. Two more positives before you continue.
Okay.
Ruben Randall, of course. 2 touchdowns.
Of course.
Big game. Keem Nicks. Welcome to the
Nicks.
season.
Oh my God, the milk cartons.
Found him.
And what really sucks about this week as well is that David Wilson was gonna get it going. He had 6 carries for 16 yards and a touchdown, and then his neck. And then he got hurt. That put a damper on the week. It really sucks that he was finally gonna get the ball going and everything like that. It was just simple again with the Giants. Turnovers. Eli threw 3 picks. 2 of them were okay. The third one, was his fault.
Third one was just a great catch.
No, that was the
a
second
diving one.
That was the second one.
Oh, there was one after that?
Yeah.
Oh, I was already home.
Yeah, I already turned it off. The first one, they should have called a face mask, but they didn't. But
yeah, that was the one where he got hit in the... Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. But you can't really complain so much because we should have given up a safety earlier in the game,
So
kind of thing. So it evened out. The second pick of the fourth quarter, all 3 picks were in the fourth quarter. The second pick was just an awesome play by the DB on Victor Cruz.
Yeah, it's a guy just stepped in and picked it off.
Stepped in and they fought for the ball and he ended up winning because he had a better position on the ball. It was just a frustrating day. Victor Cruz had a quote unquote off day, considering they decided to throw to Keem Nicks and Keem got the ball, or Randall got his. So Victor Cruz was the odd man out this week. Weatherford punted well this week. Can't really complain about that. Defensive player of the game, Will Hill with 11 tackles. He was everywhere. He must have taken his Ritalin, like Steve said to me earlier today, saying he was our defensive ball guy. So that was great to see. Antrell Roll was nowhere to be found this week. He had a half a tackle this week. What the hell? Tuck and Pierre-Paul nowhere to be found. Tuck had a tackle, 2 tackles. Pierre-Paul 1. It was just one of those.
Pierre-Paul had a sack too, I think.
No, he did not.
Somebody had a sack.
Who had? It was a half a sack between Jenkins and Kiwanuka. That was it.
That's right. Somebody had it.
Pierre-Paul had a pressure on Michael Vick. Right, the last play Michael Vick played in the game. Let's talk about the Eagles. They played pretty impressive.
We knew it was just a matter of time. Vic pulled a hammy.
Yeah, Mick Foles played pretty decent. He scored a couple touchdowns. Sean Jackson actually
I'll tell you what, Foles on the ball looked nice.
I agree with you. I think Foles knows the system.
Problem with Foles in the system is he's not
a runner.
Right. I mean, he can move.
He can move, but he's no Michael Vick.
The option doesn't work as well with him.
See, this is what frustrates me as a Giant fan with this game. Looking at the Eagles stats, and honestly, nothing
stands out to you.
Nothing stands out. We let this game slip away. Other than Deshaun Jackson's 132 yards.
One of them was 56, so that was it.
Other than Deshaun Jackson, they didn't really they beat us because it would be stupid of me to say but they didn't murder us, kind of thing, you know.
They should have won the game.
They had their shots to win, and of course, as an 0-4 team and now an 0-5 team, they find ways to lose games.
That was the other defensive player who played well. Mundy, all over the place. 15 tackles, two tackles for a loss.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, he had 5 assists. So kudos to him on that. He played well as well. But that's a bad thing when the two safeties are making tackles
behind the line of scrimmage. The one advantage with having Will Hill back is that we could go back to that 3 safety set that Perry Fuel loves to run.
Yeah.
But the don't know how to.
Enough with this week. Last week. The last week's just frustrating and just can't get it out of my head. This week they play Thursday night against the Bears in Chicago.
Yeah. We both thought would win last week.
Yeah, we thought so, and we both got that wrong. Honestly, I don't think the Giants are not winning this game. Just too many injuries, especially in a short week. I know the Giants can't go 0-6, but they're going 0-6. As much as I hate to say it, it's going to be more finger pointing and more. We're playing okay, but I don't think we're playing as bad as we are showing.
I think we'll cover.
What's the spread?
7.5.
I think we should cover. Maybe, hopefully, Jay Cutler has his Jay Cutler night.
You got to think Jay Cutler is going to have one of his, oh my God, the lights are on me tonight.
No, he had that last week. So Alshon Jeffries has had a good game the last few weeks. Do you expect him to have a big game? Brendan Marshall against Prince Amukamara. Prince has been playing really good, but I don't see I don't see it happening, and I don't see anybody unless Beeson steps up big time. I don't see them.
You're also going to see a lot more
Forte.
Terrell Thomas this week.
Yeah.
They announced he didn't play as much last week because they were trying to save him with the short week.
Short week, which is fine because McBride
played well.
He played all right. He misjudged a couple of balls that should have been more. That one big play to Deshaun Jackson, he was an idiot.
He had the pick. That was
no,
the play
he didn't. No, he didn't.
He just jumped early.
He did not have the. It looked like it, but he really didn't. At first, I thought so, and then when she looked at the replay, he wasn't even close to it.
Oh.
It was just one of those. Okay, you definitely mistimed the jump and everything like that, but yikes, you should have been more conservative on that play, especially since you're pretty much a no-name. I don't know. It's just one of those. This year's team, like, they find ways to lose this year, and they're not a good team this year. Maybe we catch some luck this week with our passing game, like we always been. But honestly, we're not going to get a lot of passing yards this week. Brendan Jacobs and Darrell Scott are our running backs this week.
Yes, we'll get a lot of. We're not going to get running yards. We'll get passing yards.
We'll get some passing yards, but it's going to be really tough because everybody knows we're going to be passing the ball 90 times.
We do really well
week.
in garbage time.
But we're going to be passing the ball a lot, so the defenses are going to play back, and it's going to be ugly. And the Bears' defensive line can get to the quarterback, so Eli's going to be on the run a lot tomorrow night. I see the Bears winning tomorrow. It's just a short week. Thursday night football, more times than not, the road team loses. Except for the Niners a couple weeks ago.
And also last year when we went to
Carolina. But it is a completely different mojo to this year's team, and it's going to unfortunately go to 0-6. We play Monday night against the Vikings.
Yeah, we get a weekend 11. We get 11 days to get ready for Minnesota.
Which hopefully something stirs it up, especially if we lose.
Okay, if we get blown out, is Coughlin retired for the next game? Because there's no way that they're going to fire him, but you can get the debate where he steps down.
No, he finishes out the year. I do not see Kevin Gilbride or Perry Fuel becoming the interim coach for the rest of the year.
I don't see them becoming the interim coach, but...
Who will become the coach?
I don't know about the coach, but I do expect one of them to be fired after this weekend.
Oh, one of them will definitely be fired. Or step down as the play calling duties. Someone's definitely taking the hit. But it's not going to be Coughlin because, honestly...
Too much respect that in a giant organization doesn't do that.
Not only
Look at the Fossil year. Fossil year was horrible.
Not only that, there's not a better option.
I agree, 100%.
Like,
unless you call Brian Billick and see if he wants to do it.
I don't want Brian Billick. Well, you mean Bill Carroll?
Yeah, if Cowers wants to do it at this point, might as well.
Honestly, it's going to be interesting. There is not going to be any coaching changes, so don't.
I don't see a head coaching change, but I do see a coordinator changes, especially after this week, because somebody's got to go if you're 0-6.
Something's got to give. So obviously, I don't want anybody to get fired, but something's got to give, and the players. It's mostly on the players. That's what's frustrating. That none of the coaches should get fired, but you're a lot easier replacing one guy's job opposed to
everybody's
53 men.
Yeah, well, that's how it works in every sport, though.
So that's just one of those wacky things. And I don't know. Maybe the Giants surprise us and shocks the whole NFL world. No one's giving us respect, which we don't deserve right now, so maybe we pull one out of their butts and take care of that.
I hope so. I really hope so, because I don't want to go to the game next Monday at 0-6.
Well, of course not. Yeah.
That would be ugly.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know what the answer is.
Well,
I know.
how about this? Let's go play some more With a Vengeance, and we'll be right back to talk about the bright side of the week.
SND Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Football League or any of its affiliates.
With a vengeance!
All right, welcome back to the S&D Podcast. Dan here with Steve. You just listened to With a Vengeance, Division 1.1. Well, on a brighter note, let's talk about the other football team that plays in MetLife Stadium, the New York Jets. They pulled one of the bigger upsets of this season so far this year. Granted, the records don't indicate that, but definitely everybody felt that the Falcons were going to pull out the automatic win against the Jets. But that's why you play the game. Geno Smith shocked the world. He played mistake-free football, which no one expected, especially a rookie on the road on Monday Night Football, and a raucous crowd in Atlanta. He played absolutely outstanding. He scored threw for 3 touchdowns.
No interceptions.
No INTs. And he drove the Jets to the game-winning field goal at the end of the game. So Jet fans have to be really happy on what they saw out of their second-round draft pick out of Geno Smith. So it's still a process. The Jets still find a way to make top 5 defense with Rex Ryan's tutelage with the defense. It was very interesting to see the Jets go into Atlanta and steal one. And it was one of those games the Falcons had throughout the whole game. Every now and then the Jets took the lead and fighting for the lead and jockeying for the possession of the lead. But the Falcons had their chances. And at the end of halftime, they had their moment. They should have went for a field goal. I know we're playing Monday morning quarterback now, but you're home. What was the score at that time?
Close.
It was close, but let's see. At halftime, it would have been 14-10 if they went for the field goal. So they went ballsy, went for the tie. Yes.
17.
Oh, 17. I apologize.
Jets were up 17-7.
I'm sorry. So it would have been 17-10. I apologize. And see, for some reason, I didn't count the 3 in the first quarter. But yeah, it would have been 17-10. It would have been a lot more. It would have looked more okay calling into halftime with 3 points instead of nothing on the 1, which was a very impressive stand by the Jets. So you got to give the Jets a lot of credit for that. I just don't. I'm not the biggest fan of Mike Smith. He
Too
does
risky.
he does too many stupid things to cost his team wins. I know if he connects on them, he looks great doing it. But more times than not, he looks stupid doing it. But he still has a job, so it's just one of those pull it out victories. Matt Ryan had a very good game. He threw for 45 times, had 319 yards with 2 TDs. So you can't really blame it on him. Julio Jones, unfortunately, he's done for the year, but he had a great game with 8 receptions for 99 yards.
Ronnie White's out for a couple weeks now also.
He's out for a couple weeks too also.
With a knee and hamstring problem.
Thank God for the bye week. The bye week couldn't come soon enough for the Falcons. Unfortunately, Tony Gonzalez led the team in receptions, and he just missed leading the league team in yards as well by 2.
He has like 200 straight games with the reception or something like that right now, Tony Gonzalez, by the way. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. With the Jets, the receiving game, other than, let's see, who led?
Cumberland. Curley had 5.
led the team in receptions, but the yardage was Cumberland. He had a touchdown. He had a 47-yarder. That's something you don't see every day, especially out of a tight end, so that was great to see. Cohen Winslow's only catch of the night was for their touchdown, so that was good to see as well. David Nelson, who was just called off the street the other day, had 2 catches for 9 yards, so oh-hum with that. Stephen Hill actually only had 2 catches for 21 yards. Early was pretty much the only real factor other than Cumberland. The running game was just mix and matching. Powell had 38 yards. Goodson, for the first time of the year, was activated. He rushed for 32 yards, and Ivory only rushed for 27 yards. I don't know. It was just one of those weird games. Either team had a shot of winning, and whoever had the ball last won the game, kind of thing. And you have to give all the credit in the world to Geno Smith and the play calling and finding a way to pull this win out. I'm still shocked over the win. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they won the game as well.
I did not see this game coming. I really did not. I thought the Falcons needed this win a lot more than the Jets.
I'll also tell you this: the Falcons crowd was not into the game at all.
They weren't.
It wasn't loud at all. They were not happy.
They honestly took granted that the Jets were a quote-unquote unsuperior team playing against them, that they should have came back and just destroyed them kind of feeling. And you were able to tell that. And the minute the Jets won, the Falcons had that, yeah, we really should have taken them more seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of aspect of the game. But Geno Smith obviously gets the game ball for carrying the Jets to this win. Would you agree? And Mohamed Wilkerson definitely, the whole defense, especially on that goal line stand, getting that huge stop. So
Atlanta can't run the ball.
Atlanta can't run the ball without Steven Jackson, as we all know. So God knows how much longer Steven Jackson is.
I think they said week after the bye week.
Okay.
Possibility.
All right. Let's move on to this week, since it's going to be a decent week. Jets are finally home after 2 straight road games. They get to play the Steelers, who is 0-4 right now. They're coming off of a bye week.
Couldn't come quick enough for them.
Couldn't come quick enough is right. What do you think? Who are you going with this week?
Oh,
I think
the refs.
I think I'm going with the upset pick this week, and I'm going to go with the Steelers. I'm really impressive what the Jets have been doing so far this season. Geno Smith's been playing pretty solid, a lot better than a lot of people expected, including myself. It's a home game. The Jets defense are going to find a way to make some key plays, especially on Big Ben, whose offensive line is not the greatest offensive line, which we all know about. I just think the Steelers are due for a win, so I say it's going to happen in MetLife Stadium.
I could see it.
And it's going to be a lot of Steeler fans, like as always. They travel well wherever they may go. So it's going to be kind of like a home game for the Steelers as well. So there's going to be a lot of fun going on in the stands for whoever who's going to be going to the Jet game. Have fun, be safe. But I don't know. I see the Steelers. They had their bye week, so they had time to prepare for the Jets for the last almost 2 weeks.
2.5 Jets, by the way.
2.5 Jets. So I'm gonna take the Steelers pulling the upset. I just have this sneaky feeling that the Steelers sneak one out. And Dick LeBeau is gonna be too much for Geno Smith.
I can see it. Like if I told you at the beginning of the year, Smith would have better numbers than Roethlisberger, what would you say? You're high kind of thing. And it was just one of those years that. One of these years, the Steelers were going to get old, and this year happened to be that year. And the same thing happened with the Giants. But I see the Steelers stealing a game this weekend. I have that feeling about that. But I've been wrong so far almost every week, other than the Bills game with the Jets. So every time I pick the Jets to win, they lose, other than the Bills game. Vice versa. So I'm gonna say the Jets are gonna lose. So both New York teams I have losing this weekend, both Thursday and Sunday. Both New York teams.
Both New York teams.
Alrighty. I think I had the Giants. I'm gonna go with the Jets this week also.
Okay.
I'm gonna take both New York teams.
Okay. You're going with the Giants this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're due.
I know we're due, but
we're past due to be fair.
I don't see it. So hopefully the Jets pull it out. They're actually the favorites this year, so of this game. So let's see what happens. The Steelers are due. Unfortunately, the Jets are that team that has to give it to them. Maybe they're a little high from Monday night's win against the Falcons coming off the road win. I could see the Steelers stealing one because they're a very prideful team, and they should have won against the Vikings 2 weeks ago, kind of thing. So I think the Steelers are gonna find a way to pull it out. Big Ben's gonna steal the game.
Like I said, I think the Jets are gonna ride the wave right now. Just go all in. Might as well. ride it and win it.
All right, win, and they have a shot of hopefully getting a wild card spot at the end of the year if everything goes to plan. As long as Rex Ryan gets to keep his job at the end of the year, that's what Jeff fans should hope. It's been a completely different year. It's pretty much been drama-free so far this year.
They're only a game and a half out of the division.
And the Patriots are not the Patriots of old, like we've been mentioning, but they are getting healthy, so it's going to be interesting to see which Patriots team shows up for the rest of the season, kind of thing.
It's actually in a wild card spot right now, by the way.
They are?
Oh.
I'm in 5 other teams, I bet.
Cleveland, Cincinnati, Tennessee are all 3-2. That's in Miami also.
So it's a big cluster like we all expected. So as long as the Jets are finding ways to win games, you can't not respect them.
Our division, the NFC East, by the way, is so bad that ESPN.com has the Cowboys, who's leading the division, as a half a game back.
Yeah, no, they are, because the Eagles have 2 games, 2 division wins. That's what happened. That's why they're leading the division.
That's right.
Division record. So honestly, there's no words for what's going on with this year's football season. It's so bizarre a world right now that I don't even know what's going on. So that was the Jets. Maybe the Jets pull out a nice victory this week and keep that momentum going. Here's more Division 1 point run, and here we go to wrap up the show.
SND Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Football League or any of its affiliates.
Welcome back to episode 48 of the S&D Podcast show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Once again, Division 1.1 with a Vengeance is this week's song. First, before we get into our picks, I have a fun NFL fact that I forgot to give you last week, by the way.
Okay.
Fact, by the way, brought to you by my dad.
Okay.
Hold on, I lost it. I had it a second ago.
Speaking of funny stats, I found it funny that the Broncos Twitter and the Jaguars had a battle this week, #war, with the how the Denver Broncos were like, the Broncos have scored 51 points in this game, more points than the Jaguars.
We posted it on our Instagram, by the way.
More than the Jaguars posted the whole year so far, and the Jaguars took personal insult to that and said, "Stay classy, Denver." And Denver goes, "It's nothing to be disrespectful. It's just facts." So it's
it's gonna be funny.
It's gonna be funny.
We'll get into that game in a minute.
Yeah.
But going into last week, by the way, keep this in mind. Only 2 NFL quarterbacks ever won their first 4 games after being traded to a new team.
Okay.
Go for it.
Traded to their new team. Okay, so there's gonna be something with Trent Richardson with this.
2 quarterbacks.
2 quarterbacks being traded. Rephrase that again. I'm sorry.
Okay. Only 2 NFL quarterbacks ever won their first 4 games after being traded to a new team.
I don't know.
Alex Smith.
He wasn't traded though.
Yes, he was.
He was traded? Okay, I thought he was a free agent.
Oh, he was traded.
Okay.
And the other guy who was traded,
Who?
coincidentally enough, Joe Montana.
Wow.
Both went from San Francisco to Kansas City.
Interesting. It's crazy. For some reason, I thought what's his face was a free agent, but I was wrong. That's crazy to even think about, but it's facts are facts.
I find it more interesting that they both went from the same team to the same team.
Yeah.
Like, how often does that happen?
That rarely happens, and they both went 4-0 so far. So,
well, now Alex Smith is 5-0.
5-0. I'm sorry, 5-0. It's a different what a year makes. Like that's what I hope the Giants are next year, kind of thing.
We're gonna trade for a quarterback and
no, but have the talent. We have the core talent around us. We're just not getting wins.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, all right, fine. You brought up the Denver-Jacksonville game. I have a pick'em league. Who am I taking in my pick'em league?
If you have not taken the Broncos yet so far this year,
No, it's not one of those. It's pick every game.
Oh, okay.
It's not the suicide.
Are we going by the mighty S word?
The spread?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it, 28 last time I checked?
28.
No team should lose by 28 points in the NFL. But unfortunately, the Broncos are going to do it. This is the week.
In Denver, you don't think Jacksonville could pull out at least cover?
This might be the first week ever.
Sorry, I apologize. The spread is now 27.
Oh, that 1 point.
It opened at 26.5 though.
Gotcha. So it was 27.
Now it's 27. They're covering 27 points.
Looks like they might have. This is going to be one of the rare games. I think so, because just how amazing Peyton and the rest of the team has played, offense has played so far this season. I don't see.
Well, granted, they put up 51 last week.
They put up 51 last week, and the Cowboys played their asses off.
Credit to the Cowboys.
Typical Romo.
You know what? You can't even blame Romo for it.
Oh, yeah, you can, because he throws a pick in the.
The defense player made a good play.
He did, but Romo at his finest moment, he had a moment. Romo type game, and then he chokes it, blows it away at the end of the game. And that sucks. If their defense was able to make an extra play earlier in the game, it was just a complete, utter shootout, which was awesome to watch. Everybody in America had that game.
I was sleeping.
But yeah, you're on the ride home from the Meadowlands. But yeah, whoever was home was able to watch it and enjoyed it. It was definitely one of those epic games of the season. Hopefully, with so much football left in the year, that wasn't the best game of the year. But to the date, this was so far the best game of the year. Aiden scored a touchdown on the bootleg, which was one of the greatest plays ever. Because
when he almost fell?
No one expected that.
And he almost fell
Yeah.
on the bootleg, by the way.
No one expected that at all.
Well, he did announce early in the year they were going to they put the pistol in, they're going to do the opposite.
No, Sean Marino took an absolute beating on that play. Because no one and their mother thought that was going to
11 guys on Dallas tackled him.
Yeah, it definitely was worth it. Yeah, they're covering.
Covering?
They're
27?
Yeah, they're just so much better than them.
What's the over-under on that game?
27, like we said.
No, that's the spread.
Oh, over-under. I'm not sure.
You got to think if the spread's 27, the over-under's got to be in the 50s.
Yeah.
Right? You would think so.
Something like that.
Wrong game. 53.5.
You'd assume over. If the Jaguars find a way to score.
Sure you don't want to use that as your upset of the week?
Yeah, okay. I would quit this show and be on the NFL Network and ESPN.
Just cut out this one little clip and be like, I picked them.
Yeah, no, not a chance. Not a chance. What's your next game?
All right, my next game is going to be the Packers at the Ravens.
Packers-Ravens. It's actually going to be a solid matchup. It's in Baltimore, so you're not going to get the mystique of Lambeau Field. The Ravens actually played well last week. They finally got Ray Rice the ball. Ray Rice had a good showing last week. But at the end of the day, they don't have Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. They had a solid game last week. It wasn't an Aaron Rodgers-esque, but they still found a way to win. They have Eddie Lacy running the ball consistently with all their weapons. I say the Packers are going to go full steam ahead and take over the division and win it. So I'm going Packers.
I am actually going to agree with you on that game. I just don't think the Ravens are what they used to be.
Unless they keep pounding the ball with Ray Rice 35 times, they're still not as good as the Packers on any given Sunday.
It's true. Great, 100%.
I'm going with the Pack. This is where the Packers make their run now.
Oh, yeah. Definitely about that. What's your next game?
My next game, it's going to be interesting. It's going to really depend on injuries. It is the 3-2 Detroit Lions coming off a rough loss last week versus the 3-2 Cleveland Browns.
Surprising 3-2.
3-2, yes. Last week they unfortunately lost Brian Hoyer, but Whedon stepped in perfectly and they found a way to win on that Thursday night game. Who do you have going with that game?
I'm actually going to take Cleveland to win in the dog pound.
You got them? I actually have the Lions winning. I think Calvin Johnson is going to come back and play. If Calvin Johnson plays, their offense is awesome again, and Reggie Bush is going to go off as they're going to be able to run the ball and pass it down to him. And all the secondary receivers other than Calvin Johnson will be able to get wide open like they expect. So it really depends on Calvin Johnson's health. If Calvin Johnson plays, I see the Lions making the Cleveland Browns magical run. Sorry, Buck. Start screeching halt. So I'm going to go with the Lions this week.
Right, and I got Cleveland. All right. My next game, I'm going to throw you a curveball here, is the 4-1 Seahawks hosting the 3-2 Titans.
Funny how I said the last 2 weeks the Seahawks were going to lose. I was right 1 week, wrong the other. I'm going with the Seahawks. There's no way that Fitzpatrick's going into Seattle and pulling out an upset. Do not see it. If he does, kudos to him, but highly unlikely. Highly, highly, highly unlikely that the Seahawks are going to let a backup quarterback come into their stadium and pull out a win. It's just too loud of a stadium. He's not that good. He's had his moments of being a productive quarterback, as you saw last week. I see the Seahawks winning and pulling out a big win against them, against the Titans.
I agree 100%. I like the Titans this year, but not in Seattle.
No one's beating anybody. No one's beating the Seahawks in Seattle unless it's one of the surprise upsets, just because someone gets hurt kind of wins. But I expect the Seahawks to go perfect 8-0 at home.
Yeah. I could see that. Unless they have a home game week 17, that means absolutely nothing. And
correct.
They don't play anybody.
Correct. And the last and final game for this week that we decided to choose is the Redskins-Cowboys. The 1-3 Cowboys. The 1-3 Redskins head to Dallas and play the 2-3 Dallas Cowboys. Per pure factor, I went Redskins, but I have a sneaky feeling the Cowboys are going to find a way to pull out this win.
I have the Redskins winning this game as well.
Unless RG3, they had a bye week, I think RG3 must have rested up a little bit, got his practice feet under him, and was able to work with his teammates. If that's the case, I think Dallas is going to be in a long fight for a long night this Sunday night against the Redskins. At
home.
It's at home. Don't be surprised if Santana Moss gets behind the Cowboys defense again. For some reason, he is a Cowboy killer. Doesn't matter who's throwing him the football. He finds a way to beat Dallas every year in Dallas, week in, week out, every week, each game. But I'm gonna go Redskins, but I see the Cowboy. I could see the Cowboys pulling out a win because they are the better, quote unquote, better team right now. But the Redskins need to win more desperately. So
I can see it as well. Before we give up on picks, Saints 5-0 Saints have 4-1 Patriots.
The Saints are a better team at the moment, so I'm gonna go Saints.
In New England.
Their Saints have better offense right now. No one can stop Jimmy Graham. Granted, Gronkowski's supposed to be back, but how rusty is he going to be? And the rest of the wide receivers and Tom Brady. Tom Brady's had no help so far this year. They've had their great moments that they were 4-1, but the Saints are just a better team right now, and I see them going up to Foxborough and pulling out a win.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, they surprised me last week going to Chicago. I had Chicago winning that game, and they surprised me. Okay, I need some fantasy advice from you.
Okay. I don't know if you should ask me since I'm slumping this year. But go shoot away.
So that means you're going to easily pick me a winner.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, Matt Ryan's on a bye.
Okay.
I can have Palmer at San Francisco.
Okay, that's already a no. Unless you want to get garbage quarterbacking points, which is essential. Okay.
Josh Friedman versus Carolina.
He's not playing.
He's not playing.
So that's a no.
Eden at home against Detroit.
How bad of a quarterback situation are you right now?
Matt Ryan's on bye. I
know.
need a quarterback.
Okay.
You're not playing. You're not playing. You're not playing. Fitzpatrick at Seattle's a no. Matt Castle versus Carolina. Geno versus Pittsburgh. Nick Foles at Tampa.
Honestly, I don't know. For some reason I like the Eagles pulling out a win. I know their offense is a lot fast paced, and other than Darrelle Revis, I think they are going to be able to move the ball a lot better.
You got to think that Foles is going to be fine.
Yeah, I think the Foles is fine. The way he played in the second half against the Giants, nothing would shock me of him being able to beat the Buccaneers for a full game.
Scary part about him though is that Vic may not be practicing right now. A hamstring injury, he walks in Thursday and he's okay. He's playing. Mm-hmm. But I don't see it happen. Chip Kelly didn't rule out the possibility of Foles playing. That's what he said.
I see Foles playing as of right now. So I would go with Foles. He's the safest bet, and he's able to step in. I think it's too early for Geno Smith. Brandon Weeden I wouldn't touch with the 10-foot pole.
Weeden may be my second best option, though.
That's sad to say. I would assume Carson Palmer would be.
Not against San Francisco. In San Francisco.
No, yeah, you're right. But
Weeden looked well last week. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Weeden did play well on that Thursday night game. Or is his numbers? 13 for 24, about 200 yards and a touchdown.
Honestly, if you go Foles, you can't really get that upset if he throws up a stinker. Because out of everybody, he probably would have the better predictions out of everybody.
Yes, but then again, he may not play.
But yeah, you gotta look into that.
Well, the way I see it is, what will happen is Sunday morning, I'm scrambling for a quarterback if they announce fixed play.
Yeah,
That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
If I have to, I have to. Anywho, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Division 1.1, us,
Schmuck Sports,
Schmuck Sports,
Eyes on Isles.
Eyes on Isles, Blue Line Station. I'm hanging out with the Blue and Orange Army.
Yeah, and also you said you had a friend's. Leave in New York.
Believe in New York. It's a new clothing line. It's all New York sports, not just dedicated to one sport team or anything. They don't have many designs yet. They have some. They have a Met one. It says New York does it the right way with the number 5 on the back.
Got it.
They're working on their hockey lines. They have a Captain Cali shirt, of course. They have a giant one about Eli and a jet one with the Statue of Liberty on it. For now, they're in the process of working on more stuff. It's Believe in New York, I believe the site is. I'll get you the exact site right now. BelieveInNY.com. Check them out. Help out my friends. They're just like Darren from the 7 Line, just trying to making some cool shirts. But anywho, that was episode 48.
48. By the way, don't forget to check out our first ever episode. If you're bored
Yes.
and you want to laugh at us, I'll definitely go check that out. Thank you for being with us for this wonderful year.
We made it a year.
Made it a year of ups and downs, but we've got it through for past a year. So that's very impressive, and we're very proud of that. Only way is up from here on out. So thank you for sticking with us, and thank you for enjoying. Have a great week, guys.
Have a good week, guys.